So we've been talking a lot on these programs about protecting our kids, and so I was looking at all of the different bills because as we've been talking about protecting kids down at the General Assembly is back in style. People are using the government in a very positive way, whether it's banning children from going into to drag shows and that sort of thing, or we also have the library bill that we've been covering. We're going to have more on that here in a little bit. But the other day, a press release came across my desk, and this is what it said. We'll put this up on the screen. It's from State Representative Matt Duffield, and it said this. It said something about the passage of a bill called SB 66. He said it was his honor to spearhead the passage of SB 66 from House Rules Committee. So I didn't know about this bill. For far too long, underage children have been exposed to a toxic level of pornography, sexualized images on the internet, and salacious material unfit for impressionable young. This bill is a giant step forward in our efforts to curtail the avalanche of disturbing filth that no minor child should see or be exposed to. Upon passage of the bill, commercial entities and internet service providers will be required to verify age of the person wishing to access this kind of material, to prohibit access to minors, and be accountable if they don't. In addition, the legislation prohibits companies from storing data, sharing data, or profiting in any way from data obtained from age verification checks. So I did a little research on SB 66, and I reached out to the House sponsor, State Representative Mindy McAlindon, and I think I've already botched that. We talked about this the other day. State Representative Mindy McAlindon, thank you so much for coming on Conservative Arkansas Media. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me here. I appreciate it.
Yes, so thank you for sponsoring this piece of legislation. Protecting our kids. What can you tell us about it? What gave you, the idea to do this?
So I have a group of friends that we're from across the nation. We're elected as representatives or senators in each of our own states, and we kind of get together and talk about bills. And I had a friend who mentioned the Louisiana bill that just got enacted in January that basically is this very similar bill. And I said, oh, we need to do that in Arkansas. It is literally easier to log on to Pornhub because during the pandemic especially, they made it all free. So it's easier to log on to Pornhub than it was to log into Budweiser.com. And in Budweiser.com, you can't do anything but look at pictures of beer, talk about beer. You can't even order beer. And that to me was kind of egregious. Like, how are we protecting our children if we're not at least trying to put a barrier to some of those things? And so that's kind of what gave me the idea. And Senator Dees had the same idea. We were both running bills, and I said, I'll hop on yours in the Senate. And so that's what we did.
Yeah, and so Senator Dees is the Senate sponsor of the bill. I want to read a portion of this bill. I'm going to put it up on the screen because my favorite part of the bill, I love what it does, but I also really enjoy the conclusions and the legislative rationale here. So if we scroll down here to, I think, the second page, it says the General Assembly finds that pornography is creating a public health crisis and is corroding influence on minors. Due to advances in technology, the widespread availability of the internet, and limited age verification requirements, minors are exposed to pornography at too early an age. Pornography contributes to the hypersexualization of minors. Pornography may lead to low self-esteem, body image disorders, an increase in problematic sexual activity at young ages, increased desire among minors to engage in risky sexual behavior, and difficulty in forming or maintaining positive relationships. I really think that last part goes to the family. It goes to how in many ways, pornography is acting as a depopulation agent. There are people who are having less kids because they're getting their needs met, not legitimately, not genuinely. They think they're getting their needs met with a computer screen versus forming families and having children. So I just applaud you for stating these facts, stating this truth, and that what is going on is wrong. I'll let you respond.
Thank you. No, I agree with you. It is kind of a silent scourge on our society. And what we find is there's a significant number of kids under 12 that being exposed to pornography. And about 90% of them, it's either by accident or through curiosity. They Googled a word and that's what popped up. and it is so pervasive within the internet. What we also find is that this is incredibly addictive, especially for the young brain. Dr. Sutton over in testified in Congress, I think in 2012 maybe, that addiction to pornography is chemically identical to addiction to heroin. And when you think of it that way, you wouldn't leave heroin lying around your house or anywhere that your kids could get it, right? You shouldn't do the same thing with pornography. And so that's what we're finding, is that you do have kids who are now not able to form good, healthy relationships as adults because they've gotten a distorted view of what a relationship is, and also they have gotten distorted views of sexuality. And so it really is causing a lot of problems. As people grow up into adulthood, it destroys marriages, it destroys people's livelihood because they can't keep a job. And so it really is something that needs to be addressed. I mean, if you're an adult, you can do what you want to do, but as a child, we need to protect our children.
What's some of the pushback, if any? I mean, I'm assuming there are some Democrats down there that are going to be against this. Maybe even some live and let live Republicans. And of course, we've seen how that strategy works out because, it's this, I guess I've been calling it Republican secularism. We see the fruits of that, and the fruits of that end up being, Fox News putting Bruce Jenner on the TV and expecting us to allow him to deliver us the news. You know what I mean?
Right. No, I agree. And some of the pushback has been, I think, mostly with the technology, right? People want to know that if they put their ID in, because this bill requires that porn sites put in a kind of a barrier, and that barrier will require some sort of ID to be put in to make sure that the person who's logging in is over 18, which seems very reasonable to me. We require IDs if you want to buy cigarettes, if you want to buy alcohol, if you want to go to a rated R movie, you had to be 18 or 17 to get in, and often have to show an ID. So this requires the same thing of porn sites, and we are seeing porn sites willingly do this. But because you're putting your ID in electronically, people are a little bit concerned about there being some sort of a data leak or an Ashley Madison, if you will, right? And so that was probably the most questions that I got about the bill. People wanted to know, how does that work? But our bill does say that this third party who verifies your age is not allowed to retain that data, and they must destroy it. And if it is retained, then you have a cause of action against that business because they're not allowed to retain that data. So I think that was the biggest pushback that I got more than anyone. I think most people agreed protecting children is a good thing, but people just want to be sure that if they or someone they know happens to log onto this site, that that information doesn't get out.
Well, you know what? I feel like the fact that it could get out is a great deterrent to just not go to the porn website and put your identification in. And this will actually, in a lot of, if you know that there's a chance that you're going to be caught, this is kind of in a way, and look, I know this, but this would bring shame back. I mean, we have no shame in our society anymore, right?
It's true. It's true. I had a friend say, her grandpa always said, the only purpose of a law is to keep an honest man honest. And I think that's a little bit what this bill does, or what you were just saying.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, State Representative Mindy McAlindon. We really appreciate it. It's great to meet you. Keep up the good work. And if you ever need to, get a message out, feel free to do it on Conservative Arkansas Media. We really appreciate it.
Fantastic. Thanks for having me, and it was lovely meeting you as well. Have a great day.